Okay, FOAA. FOAA. Okay, so we have a changeover. Yes, and I have seen that we do have significant FOAA requests. Do you have, so if we were to move away from the high cost attorney to some other options, do you have, I mean, I know you said you're looking for additional resources, which we have been providing, but they were at a very high per hour cost. So we're looking at other options. Do you have any?
Right. So I have asked around locally, like where they get their law firms, like Paris and Oxford, Norway, yeah. And they all hire the same law firms we do. So Bernstein and Schur came up more times than I care to mention. However, I am a little concerned about our relationship with them. Now, our second attorney that we've had in the last few months is now stepping away. We've gone from Trevor to Bree, and now we're going to be in the third person. We also have a large backlog of things that are looking at us. Several that we're trying to fulfill, that we keep fulfilling, and they keep saying that, you know, we need more, we need this. So managing that is very complex. One of the people keeps telling us that they want us to sit down for 140 something hours and review all of the, you know, the tape from the recording from the days. And I'm just like, it's not practical for us to be able to do, because of course this client is also indigent, so it's all free of charge. So FOAA is a mess, and it is something that I keep trying to get on top of. We have started with FOAA. We do have a response letter that we're trying to use. Unless it reaches the initial read of, I have no idea like how or what, whether we should be answering this or what should we do. And then it had been going to Bree. Now it's going to be going to somebody different. So I'm not very sure about that. And again, I have put the feelers out there for somebody local, as a local law firm, to do this. I really haven't heard back from anybody. However, I have been busy. And so again, I checked with local town managers to see if there was somebody appropriate. And again, I got an email just as early as this morning saying Bernstein Schur. I was like, you're not helpful.
They're leading for municipal government stuff, so I'm not surprised.
There's not a lot of government people that represent government out there. So Bernstein is one of them.
Well, we could probably get someone who's not specifically government related and just like they just understand what has to be redacted and stuff. But.
And it doesn't necessarily not. Like some of it is just busy work, and it doesn't need to be an attorney. It just needs to be somebody taking the time to connect with the right people, gather the information, and make the responses. And some things do need an attorney. So I just
we've recently gotten into a battle with a company. They want the 911 call, and the way the statute is read is that we can't produce a 911 call. It's confidential. We can produce the transcript of it, but that's us making something, and we're not going to make something in order to fulfill these. So we've had a really bad, I don't know whether you've been in the CC of it, but there's been quite a bit back and forth between Bree and this company in regards, So it's been extensive back and forth, and it's about the
same one case where they had to provide it, but then Bree corrected them. Like, well, that's because they already was automatically transcribing it though. So we don't have anything like that.
Automatically transcribing
to produce something that doesn't exist. Yeah.
And we do have an attorney opinion on that. I remember it's like one of the first things I heard when I started.
Yes. And she cited the case law back and forth with him, but it wasn't a simple just one like, hey, we're not doing it. It was like, you know, a lot back and forth. So
you tell them we don't have, like, sometimes they want like basically like a record of like if we had like a purchase order thing, but we don't have like a system that does. It's just spreadsheets. And then you tell them, oh, you don't have with it. They're like, okay, well, how do you do it? Because then they're going to reword it instead of back. So they don't even take that as an answer if we don't have it. It's like, well, tell me how you do have it. And then I'll request it that way. It's just like, again, none of it is really helpful for anything besides creating databases. It's not serving the public's interest really for anything.
Right. I know. You
smell very any sort of quick response to their municipalities on FOAA?
I mean, Maine Municipal, we've talked about doing business with Maine Municipal as far as HR stuff and legal. We've never ended up landing there because none of the reviews that I've heard have been positive. I I would rather try to find a local attorney. I mean, one of the suggestions I made was as we went through the budget season was maybe looking to hire a position of a paralegal or, in diverting that money in the budget, we pay lawyers to somebody in-house has been something that I thought about. I haven't done much work on that, but that may be something worth doing. Again, I thought that finding a local law firm that we would give them a steady of at least some of these summaries and some things we could get at less cost than we are getting at Bernstein and Scher, but I'm not sure.
Two attorneys were connected with obviously Jared Crockett. We could ask him, hey, this is what we're looking at. Do you have any suggestions? And Jen's husband's an attorney as well, right? Local attorney. So maybe reaching out to them just to say, hey, do you have any suggestions? This is what we're looking at. That might be a bit of a rabbit trail. I do have a meeting with Brenda Kielty tomorrow because I was going to ask her sort of the same question, like, hey, what do you see other people doing? How are they? She answered me by email that said it'd be fine to have a phone call as well. And I did bring up just the idea that maybe we could prioritize things, right? Like say we're going to prioritize a certain type of request, which might be people from Oxford County or like not prioritizing the big data dump things.
Yeah, we're trying to steer away from the big data dumps, and that is something that Brig really helped us out with the last couple of things was that we don't have that, and we're not going to manufacture it that way, and so no, we don't have any responsive data for you.
Yeah. So maybe I could have some more information and just get with you after I talk to her.
Sure, that'd be great. I would like to have a local source that I could certainly interview and talk to and figure out. And I think that we need to kind of go out to a informal bid of like looking at 2 or 3 of these people so that we got a good value for the county. And I see that as being, and if the numbers turn into the numbers that are from Bernstein and Scher, I'm still not sure that we should stay with Bernstein and Scher. We've just really been getting a lot of turnover there.
And then we lose the threat every time. Yeah, and then the thread gets dropped every time. And so then they have to, we have to pay them to get up to speed again and we lose continuity. So that is difficult. And also some of the times I think they need to come in and actually like be here, right? And get information, or no, is it always able to?
Well, we try to keep that expense down from having them come in. That's one of the things that we've done. And Chief Urquhart has helped us out multiple times by hand delivering stuff down in either Brunswick or Lewiston and Auburn area for us because some of the data that needs to be sent is not only highly confidential and protected, but also some of them are hugely large files. I mean, I just ran into that recently with trying to email some contracts and some things that we only can send out 24 megabytes at a time. And some of these FOAA requests are lots of gigs. So we've been sending them on zip drives. And again, we've tried to save money by having the sheriff's office courier them around for us, which they've done for us. So again, we're trying, and we've put in this thing where we're trying to respond to ones that we know are very easily responded to by myself and
Madam Chair, so we use a system with our IT here. Whenever there's an issue in the county, we send an email to the IT help desk. So it creates a number, a work order, documents what the issue is. It sends out an automated response and then tracks it. And I've gotten quite a few emails over from different companies trying to sell us or products that would track things. But it seems like every time an attorney does leave, the chief is our outlet. He sent it to the law firm, and then 6 months later, they're asking us for the information that we had sent 6 months ago. And a lot of our things, we know what we need to redact. It's pretty simple. We know what information we can give out to the public, things that are pending criminal, we don't, but we know what we need to redact. It seems like it's costing the county a lot of money to us to keep working it and sending it. But maybe looking at some type of program like the IT has that tracks FOAA requests that we can funnel them to it. They do an online request.
We've gotten lots of pictures too. We've done like the demos and stuff like that. And they're very, first of all, they're not very intuitive. Yeah, you can transfer them, but they're also not cost efficient, and they say they are. They come in with a base pitch that's very low, but then to actually utilize it, you have to add on all this stuff.
Yeah,
We have done like demos
yeah,
with
and
those.
it could be as simple as we use a similar program that the IT is doing. When we get a request, we create the help desk ticket, we create the ticket ourselves from whoever receives it here. But it just tracks it better. We can put the information in, and if we think it's good to go, it can be sent out to the requester. Sometimes it's just a simple accident report or a burglary report or something. There's no sense of us sending it to an attorney to sit on it for 3 months.
To send it back to you to fill it. Right, that part I get, but there is some initial, or not even initial, but there is legwork involved that we're also struggling to find time to handle as well. So the other thought I had is, I know we had a temp for a while. I wonder if we could get a temp to come in and be our FOA person. I
This
don't,
is right now, this is our FOA log that we have.
Yeah.
And it's,
well, I mean, again, when I did the email exchange just recently with Brenda, again, we are the only legal onus on us is to fulfill these within resources, right? Like we can say, listen, here's our backlog, here's our staffing. I mean, nothing says we have to hire an outside attorney to do this or that we have to hire extra people to do this. But in fairness to the people out there, knowing that we want to have transparent government, obviously we have to expend resources towards this, more than what we currently have in here. But just do it as judiciously as possible so it's not costing us an arm and a leg to do what is due diligence. But so maybe there's a temp possibility as well.
We also need a place to store some of this information that the chief probably can tell you. We're not, to my understanding, I'm not allowed to keep this FOIA information on my computer. So we do a FOIA for this high profile case or something. 6 months later, we have another FOIA for the same thing. So we have to go back and find all of it, recreate everything again. And then you have a third one that wants to do it. So you have to every time we have to recreate it. We don't have, there's no place, there's no repository for that information, but in the actual records themselves. Because we can't keep the FOIA requested material on a computer. We can keep it in the system, but once we bring it out, it's like I put it on a thumb drive, I bring it over to Nicole or.
My question about that is that once we pull together the information that is answering a FOA request, that then is public information. There's nothing confidential about that at the time that it's being answered, because that's the whole reason we have to do redaction. So why can't we save that?
Because we have the unredacted versions.
Oh, sure. So the process of pulling them all from their various locations in the unredacted form, that is the work, and you could save the product, but you can't save the work.
Right. And the other thing is you have these big requests. People don't understand, but they'll call up and say, well, I need a request for everything that happened on X road for the last 2 years. Well, that's a lot of work to do with. And then they want a specific conversation. Well, that means, you've got a conversation. I don't think it's fair that I've got to go through 4 months of conversations on the phones to find one. Because some of them won't narrow it down. And the chief and I have been working real hard to narrow it down. Give us an hour range, give us a day range. But don't say the chief and I, we had one that I think it was for 7-month period or longer. We want to know all the calls that went to this address or these names.
So for the conversation at the moment, when something like that happens, the attorneys aren't doing that work anyway. They're simply just telling you, this is what we need. And then you give it to them and they redact it, right?
Yeah.
So like there's no, even if we hire a temp, the temp isn't going to be able to come in and do that because they can't have access to those unredacted.
Those access the files that the chief and I and some of my staff have.
Right. right, legally have access to.
And I mean, we can give any of that information to law enforcement. If law enforcement asks for it, we can give it to them. And generally, if they ask for officers' reports, it comes from the chief side. If they want CAD side, that's from my department. So that they're asking for the records from both departments. He gives his part and I give my part. It can turn into a lot of time.
Right, and that is kind of over and above the conversation we're having here, which is more about just how we're turning that around, and the interface between the county and the requester is another piece of this, which is time consuming.
It might cut down on the time with the attorney is that if we stop having the attorney respond directly to the person, and so they give like us, for example, the response, because then we can control how many times that person keeps asking them for an update, then they have to respond to it, because then if they ask us, we can just be like, we know it's pending, so there's not even worth going to the attorney. We can just say like, hey, this is still pending,
And we don't want to give everyone access to an attorney we're paying $300 an hour.
so maybe we could have that be like a new rule, or be like, have us be like the middle person, be like, we'll communicate with you and we'll give you attorney documents, but it's coming, you're not talking to the attorney. We just have to make sure though that they're okay with that, because I just don't want, because I know that one time we'd asked if we could use some template that one of the former attorneys used, and they were concerned about it appearing that we were like then talking for the attorney, if that makes sense, but I'm sure they can find a way to make it clear that we're not, we're just giving them a document from the attorney. We're not the attorney itself or representing them. I'm sure we can figure that out.
Yeah, and doesn't the first letter they send out, isn't that basically the same to everybody that, yeah, we've got so many days to.
Yeah, there's a form. Yeah.
We're using that form now. We're using that form right here in the office and not sending that out to an attorney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been continuing to send it to over here and they take care of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll continue to do.
Yeah, well, it's helpful having both agencies here as we talk about this, because it's a better, picture of what's going on. But so I guess those are my two thoughts. One is a temp that comes in. Whose job is that? I don't know if that's feasible or not. And the other is obviously just a local attorney's office that becomes that person that handles the things that we, are uncertain of in some way, legally uncertain of. But even if we were to have an attorney's office that handled only the things that we're legally uncertain of, can this office handle the other things, right? I mean, I think that's what you're saying is no. And even if we were to look at that list, right, and say, well, here's the things that are like, maybe tenuous as far as like how much we reject, or if we should even say yes, whatever. And then there's a whole other bulk of things that clearly could answer.
Right.
But do we have the time to answer?
Right. Here's a great one. All internal policy RE reference to confidentiality of communications between attorneys and clients at the jail. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Like, some of this stuff is like, it's just like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it doesn't even make sense. Like,
It
the
doesn't
question
make
doesn't make sense. You don't even know what they're drilling down for.
That's usually when we send them back. You've got to narrow your scope of things. This has gotten so weaponized that probably the last 4 or 5, I've got people from YouTube channels that want an officer involved shooting to educate the public.
Copy of outstanding uncashed check report from 23 to present. Wait, what?
So we just say we don't have that? We don't have that. We don't have that record, and we're not creating it for you.
Doesn't the statute say that we don't have to create something?
It does.
So some of these are captured under that, right? Like, we don't have to create a record for you that we don't have.
Right.
Okay, so I suggest then that this is sort of to be continued, because we don't have an answer, but we have.
I'll dig into, definitely, I've been looking into local attorney.
Yeah.
And I will continue to look into a local attorney. And I will discuss with some attorney people, like what that would look like if we hired a temp in order to answer some of these questions. Would we hire a paralegal? What would we do? Because I like their some conversations with some, and I may, yes, I'll follow up.
Yeah, and maybe I was gonna have a meeting with Brenda Kielty, maybe, I mean, she's like the guru. Do you want to just have that together?
Sure.
I'll set that up.
I'd love some direction on this because it is,
Oh, yeah,
it's a hugely time taker that,
it's important. We want to do it, but we also need to have some balance, yeah.
It's floated over the last few years.
yes, and you can just come over to FOA and then we send them Nicole does the letter up. She comes in to me, explains to me what she's doing and I approve it before she sends it out.
Yeah, which is so much more on
And
you.
again, maybe we can come up with a plan for something that comes specifically for stuff out of your office. And I think that we could
Internally, the only thing is when it gets to cost, who's going to say it's going to cost you that much? Because between us, we're spending hours on this stuff. We would have to limit them.
My personal opinion is we charge $110 for outside details for people to hire us. So
Can't charge more than 25, unfortunately.
An hour, but I think we should at least be charging that.
every time. And for the devices, if we have to put it on a membership drives.
We have to find a way to start tracking time, because we have to, the first 2 hours are technically free. We can't change that. So we have to make sure that once we go to the third.
And then after that is $25 an hour.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
Which is,
I know, and it's that way because you don't want to make it prohibitively expensive for people to get information from their government. It's just, as you said, it's been weaponized so badly that we're like ambushed for information and we don't have time to do our jobs. We don't have time. And so then the people that are legitimate are getting lost in a list like that. It's just, it's really, really discouraging. But we will find a way.
I'll work on those two things. I'll talk to local attorneys and I will work on the temp.
Yeah. And then we'll ask some questions to Brenda.
Yes, can you send me time when your meeting? And
Yeah, it isn't set up on exact time. She just said she has time Wednesday. Just tomorrow. So we'll just talk after
Okay,
this.
sounds good. Sounds good.